Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome back to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever.
Wait, something's not right. I've been here before. I've done this before. I did this over a year ago. It was Step-Stool number 5, Sub-Q versus Hawk289. Hawk289 is in this cast. It's a 1v1 on a Moor. I've casted this before. What's going on? What? What was that? Fire the intern! He sent me the same replay! What? Oh, no, it's look at the IDs! Oh, it is different. Huh. Well, let's file all this away. Don't fire the intern, alright? We'll fix it. Alright, we can't let them see behind the curtain. Quick, cut to the real thing!
Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome back to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever for a Step-Stool ladder cast. And on the docket today, we have two UEF players going head-to-head on the map Amor. And you know what is very close to the word Amor? Adore. And I will have some greatly big adoration for anybody who goes down below to click the buttons before we get into the player introductions. Now, with that very clever scheme out of my head, let's get into the introductions with the red UEF going first. Land, his name, of course, is going to be OneAPM, and will that be his downfall, or will it be his savior? Will his lack of action be what he needs to win today, or will it be his downfall? As we move on to his opposition, a blue UEF going first land. His name is Hawk289, and he is no stranger to this map. He has been casted on this map before. Let's see if he can have a similar performance, or if things will be different today, as we are going to be getting on with the action here on this map. I mentioned it earlier, it's a Moor. We have 12,500 reclaim on the map. We have a lot of expansions for these players. It is a 10 by 10 kilometer. There are 2 pawns on either side of the map behind the players' bases, where we have seen before, and maybe we'll see again today, some naval action take place. If you can get to the pond of your opposition, build up some T2 Navy, you can siege all of their core mexes and make life very difficult for them. So let's get into the action, and let's see how these players are going to get on by speeding up the game just a tad bit as I take a drink of water. Stay hydrated, everybody. Water. So delicious. Now then, we have our standard expansion going on, some early anti-air coming out from OneAPM, maybe a little bit worried about having some bomber incursions coming on to his base, whereas to the south we have our first air factory being built, around 70 to 80% done. We have our little bit of harassment going on here in the north, as Hawk picks up one of OneAPM's engineers with a mech marine. He has a second mech marine en route to the northwest of this, going to be able to pick up maybe a kill or two. The first mech marine falling back nearly at the point of killing off a T1 mass extractor. If he manages it, will be great for Hawk289. Will mean he's really set back the expansion of OneAPM, but with the comm showing up as well as a striker, most likely going to see the dismantling of that mech marine, and that is indeed what's going to happen as the striker claims the soul of that poor little mech marine. And this mech marine up here, he's done some damage to one of the mexes, and now he is going to be doing damage to another. But unfortunately for him, a striker is coming by and saying, "Get off my lawn, you dirty, filthy man with a machine gun." And that's going to be the end of that mech marine. F's in the chat, everybody. F's in the chat to pay respect. Now then, we can zoom out and see exactly how this game is progressing. We have a little bit of a divergent style coming from both these sides. We have a very early move out from OneAPM. He has decided, though, that he doesn't have the APM to give another move order to the comm, so despite having the advantage of getting to the middle first, he's not quite going to be able to use that. And on the other side, we have a lot more units heading over to the east and not as many going to the middle, whereas OneAPM has his comm and pretty much every unit he has on the map currently focusing down this middle central kind of corridor towards his opposition. Yet again, we're going to speed things up because this is not a short game, and I am not here to waste your time as these players build up and get ready. It's a little bit of a lower rated ladder match, so they're going to have a little bit more struggles with getting enough units to punch each other in the face right away, but when they do punch each other in the face, those punches are going to land and they're going to hurt, and it's just a stand and bang boxing match as we all know and love here at the very violent Willow cast. And we're going to have our first engagement of comm on unit. The comm of Hawk has the drone upgrade. Has he done anything spicy with it? I don't see the drone anywhere currently. Is it being used for any spicy plays? I do wonder. I don't see it doing anything. Oh, it's over here building a mechs. Very convenient for that UEF upgrade. To be able to just have a flying engineer at the beginning of a game can be very, very nice to have. A few raiding units over here for Hawk289. Unfortunately, he's going to find that his opposition just hasn't expanded nearly as much as he has. So right now, Hawk doing a lot better on the expansion. OneAPM doing a lot better on reclaim, though. Over 1,000 already, doubling what Hawk has managed to throw together this game. But 43 mass a second for Hawk versus 31 for OneAPM. OneAPM sorely behind now in the economy game. These units going to get in here. They're probably going to be able to kill off a mass extractor or two. This striker going to be able to kill off this striker, and the striker life will go on for at least one of them. And in the center, the aggression out from OneAPM has kind of ceased. A drop over here to the east out from Hawk289. It was definitely spotted. I wonder where it's going to go. Is it dropping in the base, or is it going to be dropping in the water? It does drop in the water. And now these strikers that were coming by for a run by to kill off some units and mexes have only managed one mex kill, and they're all dead for it. And they drop a decent chunk of mass here, you know, about 250 mass right here for the pickings, and that is much more than the cost of a mass extractor. So that is going to be a relatively bad trade there. As down here to the southeast, OneAPM has moved his comm over to secure this 4 mex expansion. I wonder, I've never played this map before. Is it a 2v2 map? Do you normally have maybe a player spawn here, and then a player spawn here and here? Seems like that may be the case, or maybe these are just indeed expansions. On the other side, Hawk are going to be grabbing his expansion, so they're both getting around the same amount of map control, although OneAPM having a little bit more trouble with grabbing and holding on to mexes, as over here to the west, there is a large push now coming out from Hawk289. He's going to be killing off 3 mass extractors with this and getting a ton of value out of these units. He's going to be able to just push through and get even more done. But in the center, OneAPM is looking scary. He has a army with a mass value of 3,000 sitting over here, and Hawk has 2 strikers, an anti-air, and a comm with drone upgrade, and now a T1 PD to try and stop it. OneAPM looking poised to strike at the heart of the issue, which is Hawk's comm. Over here to the south, these strikers managing to pick up that 3 mex expansion and kill it off. All of the strikers now bearing down on that point defense's location. Hawk gonna throw out a very juicy overcharge, and it's going to be looking quite fine here for Hawk. He's gonna have to fall back, but he is most likely gonna survive. Oh no, OneAPM may be able to get the kill if he manages to keep his unit spread out enough that overcharge can't be effective. This may just be a kill onto Hawk. He's in a very, very precarious situation. A bunch of strikers now rolling in from the east to help out Hawk's comm. He's down to half HP. He's taking more and more damage, and he's under a lot of fire. And now he has fallen down below half HP, down to 6,900 HP. Looks like he's got a rank of veterancy already, though. He's continuing to run around to fire shots out into the crowd of strikers, and the strikers are getting thinned out. But overall, he still has more strikers than Hawk does, and Hawk was attacking up here to the northwest. We weren't really watching it because it was less pressing. Managed to kill off 2 mexes there. But on the flip side, OneAPM getting 2 factories, one of which just finished upgrading to T2. Was that HQ or just a normal one? That was his HQ. That is brutal now. as Hawk is falling down to 3,000 HP. He's into the red. There just seems to be no end to the number of units a OneAPM is fielding, and it seems as though this T1 bomber a real threat to the life of the blue UEF. He does have some interceptors online though, and with the Lobo dying there, the land force has been all but destroyed, and Hawk now going to be able to rest and calm down for a bit. May want to cool his waters by getting underwater, as he is very low on HP. Gonna start rebuilding his factories, starting by reclaiming this one right here. And OneAPM, has he got anything similar going on? He has a T2 factory being built over here. He has a very interesting wall template thrown up. He's throwing up a couple of them. This is going to stop adjacency for mass storage, but then again, you can always just reclaim it in the future if you don't want it. But a very spicy early game coming out from OneAPM. He has proven himself a very deadly opponent, but he is very far behind economically now. He is nearly doubled in eco by his opposition, Hawk. And Hawk is now going to be building up that factory again. Is he just going to go for T2 here again, or did he go ahead and start a T2 HQ somewhere else? Not seeing the T2 HQ anywhere else in the south, but here in the center of the map, he's going to be building up engineers. This is a huge reclaim field. We were talking about 3,000 mass in units, plus the natural reclaim here. It's 4,000 mass total to be scooped up, and it's firmly within the control of Hawk298's, or 289's. Did I call him 298? 289. Hawk's control. I'm just going to call him Hawk. He's the Hawk of the world, and of course, a lot has been going on. Over here to the east, T2 has finished up. T2 engineer out onto the field. Wonder what he's going to build with that. Most likely a T2 power. Most players do opt for that, although he really just doesn't need one, so maybe he'll opt for something like a PD creep or some form of aggressive option from the structure side of the map, maybe a tactical missile launcher. Here in the backline, though, we have T2 Navy finished up for Hawk289, and he is going for a Valiant class destroyer. That's going to be a very dangerous proposition for OneAPM to deal with. He's going to be under a lot of pressure very soon from that. He's going to be able to sit right here. It'll be able to hit all of the core mass extractors, and that is going to be a very, very bad day for the red UEF whenever those units start to pour out. Also have that option, of course, of waiting until you get a couple of Valiants out, although OneAPM... Ooh, does he notice that? Does he notice the blip on the radar just for a second? That bomber was very close to exploding. Yes, exploding. That's how English works. Come on, Willow. Get it together. You get paid to do this. Come on, you're a professional. Learn to speak. As the Valiant has now come out of the factory, kills off a mass extractor with its first volley. A lot of units now conglomerating on this eastern side for OneAPM. We've already seen him have great effect with the large swaths of units, but now Hawk has his own merry little band of units. T2 units now, though, pumping out of this eastern factory. We have some pillars now walking down the middle, or the eastern side of this map. There's a T1 PD here, but one artillery deals with T1 PD, whereas, you know, the other way around, a T1 PD can't deal with an army that runs away from it, so, you know, PD is good, but not that good, if you're trying to catch my drift here. Catch my drift. Deja vu. I've just been in this place before. As, yeah, what is the song? What is the, is the Deja Vu song the one that they do for the Tokyo drifting, or what is it? There's a Tokyo drift song. Somebody will have to link it in the comments or tell me in Discord or something. But it's just so great. As over here to the north, the Valiant strolls into range. We also have a bit of action kicking off down here to the east. Some interceptors are going to be dying to flak, but that's just not as interesting as I thought it would be. Doesn't seem as though Hawk is going to contest it. The Valiant coming in has already killed off multiple T1 mexes in the base, but is now going for the jugular. It's going for some T2 mass extractors. May be able to get it. Are the strikers in range? Lobos will almost certainly be in range. The Valiant strolls into range to shoot that last T1 mechs of the core mass extractors, gets it and falls back. A tactical infiltration and a tactical exfil, as now it's going to be able to fire freely at everything but the Lobos. Is going to fall back a little bit. We now have a Governor class cruiser with its beautifully destructive cruise missiles now firing out of the top of that. It's going to be very unfortunate now, but OneAPM is losing his base. We even have a unit run by over here to the west of this little base, and it's managed to kill off 2 more mexes and 2 more about to go down. And it is, of course, going to be unfortunate. The best descriptor of OneAPM's situation right now. His only real hope right now is this last-ditch attack he's throwing out towards Hawk's base. He has a lot of units now conglomerating in this southeastern corner. He's throwing units down in towards the main base. There's really not a lot to respond here, and these pillars are going to prove invaluable, as they're going to be able to kill off these strikers quite easily themselves, and the strikers are going to have a lot of struggles dealing with them. And of course does have a lot of strikers with this force too, able to just kind of bulk out, have a little bit more HP on the cards for his units. And now there is, of course, a PD wall now starting to be thrown up by Hawk. I couldn't think for a second there. It's too hot in here. About to have a heat stroke. As the units out from OneAPM push in towards the base, they're going to be able to get a lot of damage done as long as they can kill these engineers. You got to stop the PD from being built. He has more and more pillars always showing up from the backline, so he does have a chance to continue this. He's down to 17 mass a second as things are getting dire. This Governor getting a ton of value. Both Valiants doing well. This Valiant, though, oh man, somebody give him a medal, down to 80 HP. Maybe he can get a rank of veterancy here soon by killing off the Lobos. If he does manage it, he will be very happy to know that he will be able to regenerate health at a relatively low HP per second. The Bulwark shield boat coming in handy here. But I think that there's a power stall going on because all of the power in the base back here is going down, and now Hawk almost assuredly in a power stall, unable to spend his, or he's able to spend his mass, but he's not able to produce enough power right now. He's in a lot of danger as the base of Hawk is getting dismantled, 1 tank shell at a time, or should I say 2. These pillars with their double cannons firing synchronized in a synchronized nature will be dismantling this base very, very quickly. The deconstruction crew, the demolition crew has rolled in, and there's just no answer to it. The comm of Hawk could come down and try and fight this, but now both players' economies are plummeting as we reset. It's like a nuclear bomb going off. Everything is reset to sticks and stones, and they are going to be unable to fight it out. The power grid of OneAPM now under threat by the units of Hawk, who's just brought in a relatively massive army here through the center. Even has some T2 units mixed in from his forward T2 HQ. Hawk still sitting on the mass advantage, the mass generation advantage, and of course the total advantage. Overall reclaim numbers, 5,000 for OneAPM, 3,600 for Hawk. And both main bases in tatters, both of these players running on shoestring budgets, but it looks as though OneAPM may be in a little bit of a better position. But this is a ballsy play, and he cannot afford this. Oh no. Oh no, what are you doing? What are you doing, OneAPM? It's a disaster! Oh no. Oh no. He's picked a strategy. Unfortunately, that strategy is homelessness, because you can't do this and still afford literally anything else. It is so expensive to try and go for this TAC missile battery. No, don't just walk away. Don't decide you don't want this. Reclaim it! No! No! He made the masterful play. He realized his base was going to be destroyed. He made the right call to go over here and destroy the base of Hawk, but now he's behind economically. And on top of that, he's spending 3 times his mass income on tactical missile launchers. Oh no. What are you doing, 1APM? Look at this Wow, he's only negative 12? How much reclaim is the man getting? None? How are you only negative 12? This right here alone is more than negative 12, isn't it? I don't know. That's surprising to say the least. Although negative 12 when you have 9 mass a second is more than your entire income and then some. Ooh, you like the rhyming there? It's more than double your income, son. Now, the power generation is gonna become a problem for Hawk. He has the mass, but he is negative 500 power per second. I'm honestly kind of unsure how he is this power negative. I mean, I guess it's just a bunch of little things. Maybe he even has a T2 mech going up somewhere. If that's the case, that's very unfortunate. But overall, he's still a little bit... He's spread out. He has a lot of stuff going on. I guess maybe it was this factory too? Has he fixed it at all? No, it's gotten worse since we just looked. Okay, well, that is unfortunate, to say the least. But it's not necessarily unable to be dealt with. Can we actually look at it like this? Does this work? Oh, it does. Negative 200 power. Okay, that's one of the big culprits, but it's about to die. A negative 140? Oh, he's building a drone. Oh no, I mean, I guess he only has the power generation from the comm, so it kind of makes sense. And both of these players now struggling to find any way to inflict major damage. Now Hawk just has to fall back to his base. He also has all the bulwarks. That's what's eating all the power. 150 power a second. Yeah, that's going to be brutal. But if he can build up a large bank of T1 power generators, he's in a much better position than Hawk. Both Hawk and 1APM, though, in a power stall that's reducing them to 2 mass per second and 20 power per second. It literally, economically, they are dead even because neither of them can afford anything. So, I think it comes down to who can fix their power struggle first. Because this game is, it's definable as a power struggle. And you know what we're gonna do? We've already seen the openers. We're just gonna speed it up because I'm already anticipating these players. They're gonna take a while to get things going. We have a little bit of an incursion now coming on over towards the west. 1APM killing off a bunch of engineers, a bunch of mass extractors for Hawk. Not that he particularly cares, considering he can't afford the power cost of these mass extractors. I guess maybe when you do build the power generators, you'll feel bad about this. The hydrocarbon is the first thing he's going for, and a T2 mass extractor. That's very expensive. Though he has plenty of reclaim to draw on, the issue is going to come from all of these units now pushing around this western side. Although with a comm here, with the destroyers, this attack is almost assuredly a failure. Maybe 1APM can come down here and start cleaning up more and more mass extractors across the map. He's building a lot more power, and now 1APM is, it's rare that you're looking at you're sorting by power, but 1APM has power generation now, and that means he has, like, quintuple the mass income, because he just has he can afford to run his mass extractors. He got rid of his TMLs! Yes, he control K'd them! Oh, that's a ton of mass just sitting there for him. I'm sure he is unable to spend mass currently because of power, but once he has his power under control, he'll be in a great position. He's working with it. He's making something happen. Let's go ahead and slow this down. Has T1 bombers out across the field getting up kills. And it seems as though... Okay, yeah, you know what? This is very boring to cast at 0 speed, so we're just going to go ahead and speed it up again. I'm sure something will happen when these players rebuild, but right now 1APM getting the jump on rebuilding. And both sides falling back to lick their wounds. Did he just capture a mechs? I think he just captured a mechs. How BM? And the T1 bombers getting their bomb on, killing off mass extractors. Left and right, really shutting down the expansion attempts out from Hawk. As this is the second time in the history of this channel that Hawk has managed to have a full base trade on this map. it's incredible. Like, I'm blown away. I love base trades, and they happen so rarely in FAF, and I just love the dynamic of it. Like, you just take over this area that formerly belonged to your opponent, but you both do it at the same time, and it's just perfectly timed out, and both sides end up on different sides of the map, but it's a different kind of base trade. It's like a half base trade, because OneAPM is mainly located over here. They've just... OneAPM moved over to this eastern slot, and Hawk moved up to his slot. It's such an interesting kind of dynamic. Does Hawk, if he had intel? No. I was about to say, can governors hit that? And unfortunately for him, the answer is no. These expansion mass extractors for Hawk going down. Hawk has a bunch of T2 mexes. Hawk, yet again, economically in the lead. He's the man knows how to get his eco up and running. He's done it twice in this game alone, and I'm sure he's done it countless times before. This roving band of T2 and T1 units has been so effective. 4 vet and 3 vet pillars running around for OneAPM. Both sides are starting to get their stuff back together. They're starting to get attacking forces online. A couple of mongoose along with a large striker group now coming into the middle. OneAPM now under immense threat from this force, but he's gonna be able to hold and deal with it as he has his own strikers on standby, or his own pillars on standby, and pillars generally fare okay against mongoose if it's a heads up, run at each other fight. And it's starting to look a little bit like it was just a few minutes ago, where Hawk has more eco, but he doesn't have the units. Let's just go ahead and do a check. In land units, he has 4,600 mass invested, whereas OneAPM has 7,600 mass. He is nearly double his opponent's mass in units right now, and he is now starting to run towards the main base of Hawk. The difference being this time, though, I think that OneAPM has enough units to just crush this base, and I don't think Hawk is in a similar position, as it's just going to take a few PD being thrown up. That's a lot of tactical missile launchers! OneAPM, what is your obsession with tactical missile launchers? Why? Why this... Are you... He's been cursed. That's the only logical explanation. He has been mesmerized by some deity, and he is compelled to build way too fucking many tactical missile launchers. It's not even like they can... Like, maybe you're gonna kill off this, but this isn't a danger to you anymore, as we have a drop down here to the south of a single mongoose in the back line of OneAPM. Hawk, you've been in this situation before. I can't remember if you won or lost that game, but you have more experience in this situation than almost any player in FAF has ever had. On this map, I think you were UEF met last time because sub Q was Seraphim. You have played this faction on this map and had a base trade on this map before. Come on, man. You can do it. I believe in you. I'm rooting for Hawk because for some reason I think he lost last time. I think sub Q won, but maybe I'm wrong. And OneAPM just seems to be in the driver's seat. He's not been very great economically, but just purely having units and making them do something, he's done very well for himself. Tactical missile launcher over here to the east for Hawk has not managed to kill anything. Do not believe he can afford that either. Both players have a weird obsession with tactical missile launchers that they can't afford. Luckily for OneAPM, he stopped building. He sent out a tactical missile snipe and got the HQ. As I was saying, that was pretty much the only thing he could hit with those, so I wasn't going to sit here and worry if I missed that one. I pointed it out. And we're going to go back to speeding up just a little bit because these players seemingly unable to find a way to defeat their opposition. Units now coming in over here. That mongoose drop managed to kill off a single mass extractor and then die to a pillar from the look of it. And now these T1 units with a pair shield going to try and get a little bit more done for Hawk. But this is a lot of units for OneAPM. And it's looking a little bit dicey for the blue UEF player in the north now. Although, if cruisers get to free fire into the army of OneAPM, the fact that he has more mass into land units does not matter all that much, because it's getting negated by naval units. And, yeah. Yeah, this... Yeah. Alright. Okay. Well. Yeah. This... you need to notice this is happening. It's really painful to watch, but it's the only thing going on. So let's just sit here and have a cringe moment, everybody. I'll leave everything on for you all so everybody can get their information, but, how many units are gonna die to this cruiser just sitting there? Oh, it's shooting in the middle of a bunch of them now. Ooh, the pain and the suffering. Oh, the units finally realized it. A lot of them are battered and bruised. They realized that they were outranged, and they realized that that was maybe not the best situation to be in. And here we are. OneAPM has so much more of the map now. OneAPM is just kind of definitively ahead. So we're going to speed it up a little bit more again. OneAPM is a bit more risky with his comm. He's not quite as safe, whereas Hawk has very happily sat in his base and is just continuing to eco back here. He's getting up a lot of T2 production, a lot of Mongoose now starting to come out of his factories, but he's behind economically. And OneAPM has proven, when he's not building tactical missile launchers, that he really, really likes units, which is a good quality to have, especially for a lower rated kind of 100. I can't call these players lower rated. They're about my rating on the ladder. They're slightly ahead of my rating on the ladder. Whenever you're around my level, still, liking units more than structures is impressive, because even people around my level tend to turtle too much when they play UEF. Here in the center, we have our first bit of combat in a while between large armies. Mongoose versus Pillars. Who will win? My hope for all of my griping and groaning and yelling at people is that the Mongoose die because they don't get microed properly. And yes, Mongoose, very good units, but not for you, because you will not micro them properly. Leave it to the professionals. Otherwise, this is what you get. A very sad mass extinction event of Mongoose. More Mongoose always showing up at the front. I would really prefer to see him build Pillars. And total mass generated, OneAPM now catching up, as he's just been doing a little bit better economically, but Hawk yet again takes the economic lead. My guess is a mass extractor upgrade in combination with getting a few more mexes under his belt. And we will speed up once again until a little bit more action happens. T1 bomber out somewhere, don't even know where it was, but over here to the west, a large attack now out from OneAPM. He's going to try and use these pillars to push through once again. He's going to be using the strategy that Hawk used against him earlier. Run by and kill off these two mexes, but he needs to keep this force alive. This is a very mass inefficient trade if he loses this force here. He has another force, though, knocking down the front door. And unfortunately for Hawk, he just doesn't have the units to defend right now. I mean, he has a few units coming off the lines. He has a few units able to try and stand in front of these pillars, but he has Mongoose, and Mongoose need to give up ground, and that's kind of just innately their issue. Although this force could get pincered in between the two combined forces of Hawk, and Hawk may be able to take it down. And we go back to speeding up just a little bit more. These players, as I said, it's a long game. Didn't necessarily need to be as long as it is, and we're speeding up a fair bit. We're being quite liberal with it, but it's just it was too much deja vu for me not to cast this game. Seriously, go back and watch that Step-Stool ladder cast, the last one on this map. The thumbnail is literally base trade. Go watch that and watch this, and you will be surprised at how similar these games are. It is insane, and I love it. It's like they were trying to reenact it. I mean, hell, Hawk was in the last one. It's just so many levels. And he was blue last time, on top of that. Which means he spawned down here. He spawned in the same position, didn't he? Or have they changed the spawns? I don't know. I'm freaking out, okay? Mongoose over here, gonna be going down to some pillars. And, yeah, it's starting to look like Hawk might have a way back into this. The Mongoose, I mean, you throw enough shit at the wall and some of it's gonna stick. And Hawk, he may be down on eco, but he has a fighting spirit unlike any other. Buzzkill's being creeped forward so that OneAPM can take over these 3 mass extractors. Man is committed to getting these mass extractors. I love it. Oh, also, he wants to put demolishers up here on this cliff. Very interesting. As we creep past the 52-minute mark. Or creep past the 51-minute mark towards the 52-minute mark. Oh, look at that! Hawk is doing his own little template thing. Hawk is just so cast-worthy, apparently. He's doing the templates where you put walls around the triads. I don't know if he watches my casts, but if you do, go down in the comments and just tell me, how many times has this happened? How many times have you base traded on this map? Is it just the 2, or have I missed some? As many a cruiser fire coming over here, and this demolisher trying to get its value. The 2 comes, now slowly creeping closer and closer to the middle. Hawk at 2 ranks of veterancy, no ranks of veterancy for OneAPM. OneAPM has T3 land and Percival's, and it's gonna be very difficult if Hawk doesn't get his zone. He has T2 air, and he dies to Control K. He just gives up. He saw the Percivals and he gave up. Oh no, Hawk. I think the last time he played it out, but maybe he just took too much psychic damage. It was more than take a D4 of psychic damage. It was like take a D20 of psychic damage. And Hawk bows out. Thank you all for watching. You've been beautiful. Seriously consider supporting me on Patreon or on the channel memberships. It helps me out a ton. Thank you to the Patreons. They're amazing. See you in the next one. You are beautiful. This is Willow. Signing off!
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.